Welcome to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert, and I'm here to tell you that imposter syndrome isn't a life sentence. It's just a dysfunctional way of thinking. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. Time to kick your inner imposter to the curb and create life-changing results for you and your clients. Let's get started. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, business mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert. We're diving right into it today because today is actually going to be a shorter episode. I am always thinking about metaphors, and if you are a coach and you're thinking about your selling and your marketing, it is actually a neuro-linguistic programming technique to utilize metaphors because metaphors are able to penetrate, sorry that I have to use the word penetrate, to penetrate the subconscious mind and make us understand things quicker. It's a different kind of language technique that actually allows us to see things differently, and it's like kind of a shortcut to the brain, essentially, in terms of explaining things by way of using a picture or another person or an object or something, and that really helps us understand a concept. So kind of like when kids are learning in school, they use a lot of metaphors because it helps them understand things in a quicker and more efficient way. So when I was thinking about metaphors and certain things with regards to thoughts, I thought about how doing the thought work is like unsubscribing to your thoughts. So if you are a person that has like thousands and thousands of emails, you probably get an email from somebody who, like, you definitely don't want their emails anymore. It could be a store that you bought something from and then never wanted to buy from again, or it could be like a newsletter that you signed up for because you wanted to enter a contest. Whatever it may be, if I'm calling you out so hard right now, let me know. But you might consistently be getting these emails to your inbox, and you're probably just deleting them. You're probably swiping and deleting them. But you know that the problem is actually there. You know they're probably going to email you again, but you just can't bring yourself to do the extra couple of steps to unsubscribe to the actual newsletter. And then you have people like me who are constantly at inbox zero and get severe anxiety if my inbox has more than 3 emails in it. I have a meticulously clean email inbox, and I used to subscribe to all the things, and I would get constant things telling me to buy this and buy that and join this newsletter and everything until I decided, like, you know what? I'm just going to take the extra step each time and just unsubscribe so I actually don't get the emails anymore. And I want you to look at thought work as a similar type of thing in terms of when you are doing this work, when you are choosing to change the way that you're thinking to shift your belief system, you are actually unsubscribing to your thoughts instead of just deleting them. And what I mean by that is it's better in the long run for you to decide why these thoughts don't serve you instead of just ignoring them and just deciding, I'm not going to think this anymore. When some people come to work with me, they're kind of just like, okay, so how do I stop thinking this way? And it's like, I mean, you can literally choose to have the thought and think that's just a thought and then move on, but a lot of us are attached to our thoughts, right? Because our thoughts create our feelings, and they're usually reminiscent of a past experience, and they're again tied to emotion, which is something we feel in the body, and that's how we tie our experiences back to. So a lot of the time when I say, well, where does that thought come from? Some people get frustrated because they're like, oh, I can't believe this thought is coming up for me again. But it's usually because it's tied to a past experience or tied to a secondary gain, which is like your brain trying to keep you safe in terms of holding on to a thought or belief. Like, we really look into secondary gain in all of my coaching programs, because secondary gain is when you're attached to a belief or a thought because it's serving you in some way. And when we're having a hard time shifting out of having the same thought or shifting out of a negative belief, we have to look at that stuff. And I know that it may be difficult, or you don't want to bring up the past. And I always like to look at the past as like, we look at it for objective analysis. We don't look at it to get stuck back in it. We just look at it to see what evidence was there. And that's what we do with neuro-linguistic programming. It's like we look at the past from a different perspective instead of like feeling all the negative emotions and everything attached to it. And that helps us release it. But instead of just ignoring the thoughts and being like, I'm just gonna think this thought, but when it comes up, I'm just gonna like waft it to the side. If that begins to become your norm, if that is happening so often that you constantly have these thoughts coming up and there's a lot of them, it may be worth it to go and do a deep dive or go and even just look at, where is this thought coming from? Where is this thought that creates an emotion in me? Where could it possibly be coming from? And that is how you unsubscribe, because when you unsubscribe, yeah, you may get another email with regards to like a different topic, like, you know, how they have some of those newsletters where you opt out of things that are just extra stuff like promotions and stuff, but you opt in to receive the important information. Then when things come up, you know that it's important. You know, if a belief or a thought is constantly coming up again, you know it's important, it needs to be looked at. Instead of just ignoring the fact that you're having these thoughts and your feelings, which is what a lot of people want to do, is they just kind of want to like skate past because they don't want to do the inner work, then it's still going to come up for you. It's still going to become a problem. It's still going to come up for you. And before you know it, you're going to open up your inbox and have thousands and thousands of emails, and you're going to be like, fuck, I wish I would have just targeted things step by step, one by one, instead of loading all of this stuff on my plate. It's kind of like when a client comes to me and they're just a complete mess. They're having emotional problems and they have all these limiting beliefs and they're having a really hard time showing up. It used to panic me in the beginning. It used to really stress me out because I used to be like, fuck, I really have to help this person. Like, and if I don't help them within these 90 minutes or within these 10 sessions, like, oh my God, they're going to be so pissed, whatever. But now, because I have a lot more skills, a lot more experience, I know it's just a result of them just deleting their emails. Just deleting the emails and not actually doing the active work to unsubscribe. Maybe you were told that emotions were not allowed, or that was the message you got from your childhood and therefore you pushed everything down. Maybe mental health and therapy and talking about your thoughts and your feelings wasn't encouraged as a kid or even as a young adult, so you just learned to not do it. It's kind of like sometimes when I think about when I went to therapy, I had so many problems. God bless my therapist, but I had so many things, and at the root of it, it was just like I didn't feel good enough, but I had been deleting all these emails, all these signs and all these things telling me like, hey, this needs attention. I had just been like, nope, instead of actually doing the work to unsubscribe. So if that feels like you, that is totally okay. And I want you to start the process. I want you to start the process of looking at your thoughts and actually looking at them. Like, why don't you believe that your business is worthy of customers? Why don't you believe that somebody wants to hear what you have to say? Why don't you believe that things aren't going to work out for you? These are thoughts that a lot of us have. A lot of us think that they're normal, but it all comes down to worthiness. It all comes down to how you feel about yourself. And then we have to look at that, and we can only shift what we look at. We can only really truly unsubscribe from a belief or a thought when we look at it and pull it apart from the root. In the Worthy Woman method, I have this exercise called the belief tree. And the belief tree is basically on the premise of you have roots in terms of worthiness and really deep-seated beliefs that just create the more unimportant limiting beliefs and thoughts that come up for you, like, this isn't going to work out for me. That may be just a branch that is actually rooted in the fact that you just don't feel good enough. So essentially, your thoughts that you're having are usually rooted in something deeper, in a belief that's deeper about yourself or about the world or about money or about love, whatever it may be. A lot of the thoughts that you're having are not just there randomly. They really are from something deeper rooted. So when we do the work, it's not enough to just constantly try and rethink new thoughts, because the deeper rooted issue is still there. So what you have to do is you have to take the couple of extra steps to look at why you might think that way, where that may come from, and dispel and disprove and release any negative emotion associated to the beliefs that you're holding in order to shift into something new, in order to be open and willing to believe that there is a better feeling thought, that there is something else that you can choose to think and believe that will actually help you towards your goals. So I hope you guys loved this cute little episode. We actually did keep it short this time. And as a reminder, if you are wanting to do this inner work, if you are wanting to take your mindset work to the next level in order to help become that next level version of you, in order to create that consistency in income with regards to your business, the Worthy Woman Method is open for enrollment later in the fall, and you can join the waitlist to get all the deets on that. This is a lifetime access group coaching program for entrepreneurs to create inner freedom, time freedom, and money freedom in their online business. So I love you guys. Talk to you later. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Check out the show notes to get started on your free 3-day challenge to overcome your inner imposter. Once you're done listening today, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at YourCoachJill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.